You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Your co-host, Danny.
Fans, we are back. Oh, it's so much to talk about. We may talk a little NBA. We may talk a little Formula One. We may talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. But fans, before we talk about anything, go ahead and like our channel. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. That's how we get these numbers up. That's how the algorithms will go in our favor. But first, Danny, let's get right into it, man. I got to talk about Formula One, Danny. Word is that Formula One and ESPN is not renewing a contract at the end after this season. There were talks about Formula One only having about 1.1 million viewers per race on average. And keep in mind, this is Formula One season is a long season. We're talking from the likes of March until like November. So long season, there's a break in the summertime. And so typically, the broadcast goes between ESPN and depending upon the Grand Prix, it'll be aired on ABC. You're looking at your Miami Grand Prix. I think this is a big mistake for for ESPN. You have just so much excitement over this season. You have Sir Lewis Hamilton going from Mercedes, now being the driver for Ferrari. You have some newer drivers, younger drivers. You have potentially an American car in the upcoming couple seasons here. The thing that you have to keep in mind too, Danny, is you have Formula One, the movie, which has been so highly touted, so highly marketed, coming out this summer. I think that's just going to put more eyes on the sport. It's also going to bring in a whole new generation of Formula One fans. And I just think this is a big mistake, money mistake by ESPN. Now, what I will say, I think Netflix will grab this. Based upon the Netflix Formula One series, the opportunities of, just widespread viewership across the globe. And now I think they're going to, grab and garner this Formula One sport, man. I think this is going to increase viewership for Formula One, increase viewership for Netflix. And the camera angles and this is going to be very interesting to see who gets Formula One. What say you, Danny, about the Formula One contract not being renewed by ESPN?
I know we're going to talk about another contract coming up. The American cars, the General Motors, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but with them getting in the fold, you would think this would be an opportunity for ESPN to renew. You just don't know if it's the market conditions for them, for Disney as a whole, and ESPN, where they're looking for cost-cutting measures. Formula One starting to pick up some momentum, with the races here now on U.S. soil in Vegas and Austin and Miami. So you would think they would be a part of that. But then, too, you wonder, from a marketing perspective, is that where some of this may have failed from ESPN? That they didn't get their bang for their buck, and as a result of bad market or not enough publicity, and saying when the races are and dates and times, and keeping that in the forefront, especially if you're trying to get new viewership. But I don't know, Jason. This one's interesting. They're cutting at an interesting time, and like I said, we'll be talking about somebody else shortly. But with that being said, I can see Netflix getting being a part of this, maybe NBC
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, as another outlet
Mm-hmm.
for Formula One. But I know somebody's gonna pick it up.
Somebody's gonna pick this up, man. Just looking at Yahoo Sports, it says, and I quote, according to Puck News, ESPN president Jimmy Patero has informed F1 that it won't renew its rights agreement that ends after the 2025 season. ESPN has been paying approximately $90 million per season for F1 rights as part of its current 3-year contract extension. ESPN pays to air Sky Sports British coverage of F1 races, though it has sent ESPN employees to US based races. Man, this is really interesting, Danny. I mean, I'm thinking if ESPN is branded as worldwide sports, man, I mean, I don't know any other sport that's as worldwide as Formula One,
Hmm.
to be real. So this is going to be really interesting. I think this is going to be a huge grab for streaming service moving forward, man. And I just hope that whoever gets this, that the coverage will be right, that you'll be able to see the camera angles, the different camera angles, you can see things within the cockpit, if you will, of a car, just the speeds and just the graphics and everything that comes along to me makes it really attractive to watch on TV. I'll be interested one day to kind of see how it is being live without the graphics, but chances are I probably have like an earpiece in just to kind of hear how the race is actually going down live, if you will. Because on TV you can see all the track, all the
Hmm.
camera angles. I mean, but live you only see your section, your segment, not unless you're in uh, a high end box, have a box seat with the TVs and air conditioning and all that stuff. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see how this goes. The company itself is General Motors. They have a contract with Formula One starting in 2026, and they'll be the 11th team, and they'll be under Cadillac. You kidding me? You don't think Americans want to see how Cadillac, how GM is going to do in a Formula One race against
Hmm.
a Ferrari, against a Mercedes, against a McLaren? I mean, this is going to be that 2026 season is going to be something else to behold. And again, like I mentioned, 2025, you got Sir Lewis Hamilton. You got new drivers. Man, this is going to be wild in 2026. You're going to have new rules in 2026. My understanding is that this is the last season under the current rules.
Hmm.
Some of those rules contain, obviously, some configurations on a car, standards that everybody has to abide by, etc. So this is the last season that they have to abide by those rules. So man, 2026 is going to be a little bit more open.
Yep.
So I'm excited for not only this season, but man, 2026. The American cars have had a interesting rap over the past few years, decades. Some prefer a foreign car versus the American car, and this is going to be interesting to see how General Motors plays this out, how they compete. So I think this is a mistake by ESPN.
Jason, one other thing you may think about too is there's not really a standard time to with the races,
Mm-hmm.
and is that impacting ESPN too, factoring into their decision,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because viewership can waver depending on what time the race is at as well. If you're a diehard versus a casual viewer and things like that.
And just as we talk about Formula One, ESPN decided we're not going to renew a contract with Major League Baseball, an American pastime. Man, are you kidding me? What is happening, man? According to articles and and what's been reported, ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball is going to conclude at the end of this season. Apparently, there was a deadline March 1st for them to come together and figure things out, but it seems like they've opted out of the final 3 years of a contract. Danny, this is, whew. And we're talking about they agreed to a 7 year deal. This is according to ESPN on their website. The sides agreed to a 7 year deal in 2021 that averaged $550 million per season. Danny, this is I don't know how much this is an American game, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is American pastime. So I don't get it. Maybe this is just a tactic, to get them back to the negotiating tables to get this going. But I'm wondering if Major League Baseball thinking we can go onto the streaming platform too, to where viewers are watching TV differently nowadays.
Yep.
You have a younger group, younger generation who don't watch TV like that.
Mm-hmm.
They, can watch on their devices whenever. And so this is going to be interesting, man. I mean, you think about baseball, you think, it's going to be on ESPN, it's going to be on TBS,
Yep.
it's going to be on maybe Fox at times. Uh, but man, the staple would have been ESPN. What say you about this contract, Danny?
This one surprised me, Jason. I know ESPN's been scaling back uh, since like the 2010s. And you remember the show Baseball Tonight, where we used to watch the highlights and everything. That's been gone. I think it's since 2017 or 2018. And some has to be underlined here at Disney, ESPN, where like I think it's more of a cost cutting move than anything. And baseball's they had a good year last year, right? Uh, Ended up having the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. They made some changes to make the game quicker, but baseball was, I would say, trending down just because the pace of the game and the way the world works now is very quick, and baseball is not that. It takes a while to play the games, and that's how it goes. So that may be part of it too. Us growing up is always ESPN. You watch the Sunday night game. They have a
Right.
few spotlight games during the week. Uh, and then two, there could be something out there from now that all these streaming like Amazon's out there, Netflix, all these other streaming services are getting involved that ESPN doesn't want to battle
Mm-hmm.
anymore from a baseball standpoint. So I'm very curious after these two we've talked about, what else
Mm-hmm.
is on the chopping block?
Yeah, Danny, this is interesting. So, reading this article off of ESPN.com, it says ESPN has carried Major League Baseball games since 1990, but cut back its coverage in the current contract to 30 regular season games, 30, mostly on Sunday night. In the wild card postseason series, ESPN also had the home run derby and 10 spring training games. The previous 8 year deal, which ran from 2014 through 2021, saw ESPN broadcast up to 90 regular season games. ESPN also stopped airing the daily Baseball Tonight highlights and news shows in 2017. Here's the kicker right here, Danny. ESPN is still open to pursuing a deal with a reduced rights fee after seeing deals struck with Apple and Roku. Apple pays $85 million per season for a Friday night package. It has aired since 2022, while Roku's deal for Sunday afternoon games is worth $10 million per year. Danny, baseball getting paid either way you look at it.
Yep.
It says Major League Baseball, towards the end of the article, Major League Baseball receives an average of $729 million from Fox and $470 million from Turner Sports per year under deals that expire after the 2028 season. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Baseball getting paid. I get it with ESPN. They're probably thinking, hey man, the rights fees, we can still do a package deal, but you know what? We're not going to pay out as much money. And it could be ESPN, the cost cutting move here, like you said,
Hmm.
this
And it's
across
a
the board.
and it's a competition thing now, Jason, because you think about it, it's been Fox, Turner, and ESPN. Now you're getting these other streaming services involved that should technically bring the price down because you have competition. And so
Yeah.
I can see that from ESPN's point to say, hey, you're getting me. Uh,
Hmm.
and they're at a point where they can do that, where they can say,
So a shout out to Major League Baseball. No spring training is starting up,
mm-hmm,
and everything. This is going to be another interesting season. We'll see what happens. Lastly, just a note here: NBA had their All Star Weekend last weekend. New format. It's a shame to see where the NBA is when it comes to All Star Weekend. I just remember we as kids just soaking up NBA All Star Weekend, ready to see it, ready to see the dunk contest, ready to see the 3-point contest. Had our Saturday night plan, get the pizza going. Hey, we watching All Star Weekend. It ain't like that no more, man. I have to say, I think it's on the players in the effort. I know everybody you all probably have heard of, all the fans have heard of, talk about this, but it's true. I think back in the day when you had the likes of Magic, Bird, Jordan, Dr. J, all the greats wanted to compete, find out who is the best of the best. I remember when David Stern would award the MVP trophy, and he was saying, the stars among stars. That was the MVP. And they would go at it. It's just not like that. And so thus the new format that we have, where we had what, four teams. You had your new school, you had your old school, basically, you had your international players, and you had a mix of in between. There was effort. There was more effort than I've seen in quite some time in an All-Star game. But the All-Star weekend is starting to become a joke. I wasn't even looking forward to it, Danny.
mm-hmm,
I'll just be honest. The All-Star games, I wasn't even looking forward to. Sometimes the dunk contest can be hit and miss. McClung, he actually won it. I mean, in great fashion. Always interested to watch the 3-point contest. Always now interested to watch the skills challenge. But I just think now, Danny, it's to a point where something's got to be done. It has to be an overhaul, some form or fashion. I'm I wouldn't mind seeing the international versus U.S. players.
mm-hmm,
I wouldn't mind seeing that just to kind of see what that garners. But hey, who am I? Just another fan
yeah,
paying money to go see these cats live or what have you. And would I continue to do that? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. And I think a lot of fans are starting to kind of feel like that. And I would even say some old school players are feeling like that. If the current players don't care, why should I care? Why should I even come
yeah,
to NBA weekend? Why should All Star weekend? Why should I even spend my time, make the effort
mm-hmm.
if it's not going to be reciprocated? So, what say you, Danny, about NBA All Star weekend?
I think with this weekend, the past All-Star weekend, it goes to the fact of it's just same thing, different environment, right? If you remember too back in the day, it wasn't like the games were like full on battle 4 quarters, but that fourth quarter, late in the third, you knew something was about to go down. And I look at too, the players don't really hate each other. I think everyone in this newer generation, they're more friends than enemies. And that may factor into it. And then on the international side, like Jokic and Doncic, when they're in the game, they don't really take it serious because no one else is taking it serious. I think they hit a tipping point this year with the, breaking the games down and doing it that way to the point total. Uh, it just wasn't the same. It was cool because like the Rising Stars on Friday night for
Mm-hmm.
the team to advance, that was actually pretty cool. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
hooping and everything, but it's still not the game on Sunday night. And it just doesn't have, I think, too, the star power on Saturday night. You don't have like Steph Curry wasn't shooting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's like the Pro Bowl. It's
Yeah.
going down to that level of
Yep.
do you even play the game? Do a skills challenge, whatever, on Saturday night. But if you don't have a star in the slam dunk, McClung's won it 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Castle did great. He had some
Mm-hmm.
crazy dunks.
Yeah. He has some crazy dunks. Yeah.
But if you don't have a star in there, that still doesn't help. And that's where I think they gotta go back to the drawing board. But I think they're gonna have an uphill battle no matter what in this with this group of players, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of the lay of the land. And
Well, let me ask you this, Danny. You know how baseball went to the All-Star format, and where whoever won the All-Star game would host the World Series or be the home team for the World Series.
yeah,
Is it getting to that point?
I can't see them doing that because if you have depending on who's in the game or whatever, and I don't know, man, it could get tricky. I guess I say it that way.
I
So
mean,
if a
NBA have
team, if
tried
a
a lot of
player's
stuff.
like in a
Yeah,
spot and they can, lay somebody and somebody gets home court and
yeah.
you just don't want that to get put into it. So I think I wouldn't want that a part of this at all.
I mean, NBA have tried a lot of stuff, man. They tried this tournament style. They've
Mhm.
tried, of course, East and West. That was the original. It's getting bad.
Like I say, there's no vitriol with these
Hmm.
players
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
people actually wanted to swing on somebody,
Yeah, yeah,
connect.
yeah.
That's not there. You may get that dust up here and there, but it's not. There's that mentality, and it's more friendly. Silver has a job on his hands if
He
he
sure
really wants to
does.
keep this, or if he just switches it to like a convention, because it sounds like that's what it is mostly anyway. Where they're
Yeah.
kind of doing,
Hmm.
meet and greets and things like that.
Brunches and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if they just switch it and just say scrap it because it's not worth the hassle to keep going through this and getting destroyed every Monday after the All-Star game.
And I think National Hockey League got something right with
Hmm.
the Four Nations tournament.
Yep.
That may be something worth really duplicating or copying. So we'll see. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.